What's up, guys? Theo here again. Just going to be doing an early prediction video for Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson. Fight was just announced for UFC 296. Edwards versus Covington is going to be on the main card. And yeah, I think I'm going to do some more of these early prediction videos, just kind of talking about some of the bigger name fights that are announced early on and seeing what I can glean very early on and then sharpen as the date approaches and we do more tape and we read more about the fighters and what's going on in their lives. But for right now, let's just get into this fight, man. I am seeing a ton of people online, just in social media, MMA communities, talking about Tony Ferguson's going to upset Paddy Pimblett here. Tony Ferguson is going to knock out Paddy Pimblett. Paddy's not going to be able to get Tony down. Oh, if Tony couldn't beat Jared Gordon, how is Paddy going to beat Tony? You know, because Paddy didn't beat Jared Gordon, right? There's just a bunch of fucking stupid takes that I am hearing about this fight. Guys, Tony Ferguson is so washed. He is the most washed fighter at that level in the UFC right now. There is no other fighter that is getting the kind of matchups that he's getting that is as washed as he is, okay? He's a shell of himself, guys. He has been brutalized in a couple fights now. He's not taking it seriously. His mental health is not there. Everyone's seen all the issues that are going on in this guy's life and with his personality. He rants and raves at the press conferences, and then he goes in and gets subbed by Bobby Green. Guys, if I told you 2 years ago that Tony Ferguson would end up getting subbed by Bobby fucking Green, you'd laugh in my face, okay? That is one of the worst losses that I can think of in recent MMA history. So, yeah, man, fade Tony Ferguson at literally any chance you get here, because they're going to keep giving this guy fights to use his name to build up. And I don't think he can win a fight at this level anymore, man. I just think the physicality is not there. The danger is not there to his opponents. I just do not see Tony Ferguson being able to win at this level in the UFC anymore. And I don't care if Jared Gordon maybe eked out a win against Paddy Pimblett. Guys, I'll tell you right now, and I'll stand by this, that was not as bad of a robbery as everybody in the media and the MMA scene was making it out to be, okay? That was barely a robbery. In fact, in my opinion, when I watched the fight, I thought it was a draw, or I thought Pimblett had won. I thought Paddy Pimblett eked out a decision there. And I actually went into the fight thinking Jared Gordon had a pretty good chance of beating Paddy Pimblett, because he just didn't seem like he gave a shit during the media days. And sometimes fighters that don't care about the spotlight and whatnot, sometimes they can do very well. They can surprise you. And Paddy's very caught up in his own fame and what's going on. It's very obvious. But let's not kid ourselves. Paddy Pimblett is not going to lose to Tony Ferguson, okay? Tony Ferguson is not going to knock Paddy out. Paddy has been hit before, okay? He gets hit. People are talking about Paddy's not going to be able to get Tony Ferguson to the ground. What are you talking about? Tony Ferguson will take him to the ground. Tony Ferguson goes to the ground in every single fight if he can. The only fight he doesn't go to the ground in was in the Michael Chandler fight, because he got knocked the fuck out early on. He might have gone to the ground in the first round, actually, but this guy his head is not in the game anymore. His body is not in the game anymore, and he's going up against a confident young dude that's on a streak in Paddy Pimblett. Do you think they want Paddy to lose to Tony Ferguson here? Look, I don't give a shit if Paddy Pimblett is a minus 300-something, 400-something favorite. You have a lot of different betting philosophies out there, and you have people thinking that you should never be betting, laying chalk, whatever. I don't care. I bet on who I think will win fights, and I'll happily lay chalk if I think the matchup is good. Guys, if you bet on Tony Ferguson here, I'm sorry, but you're going to lose your money. I mean, he is not going to win fights at this level anymore. He is so done. This fight should not even be made. I'm going to go ahead and bet a unit on this fight But I'm telling you right now, the only reason I'm not emptying my bank account on Paddy Pimblett here is because I don't believe that this fight is going to come to fruition. I think Tony is going to get injured, or he's going to get himself in trouble. Something is going to happen. This fight is going to fall through. There's no way they both walk out there, because Tony Ferguson should not be getting fights anymore. And the UFC knows better than to be putting him on May cards against dangerous opponents, people with submission games like Paddy Pimblett, who has a great submission game, is great at drawing you into bad places and then catching you. And if Bobby Green can catch Tony Ferguson when he's rolling around trying to do whatever the hell he was trying to do in that fight, then I promise you Paddy Pimblett can catch him. And I promise you Paddy can probably catch him in the first round, probably, if he doesn't knock him out. But Paddy's going to finish Tony Ferguson here, to mark my words. The only reason I'm not making more bets on this is I don't think this fight happens. I genuinely think this fight is going down. Maybe they will get a new opponent for Paddy. Maybe they will cancel the fight. Hard to say, but I would be very surprised if Paddy and Tony end up walking into that cage together, man. If they do, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good at all. It's probably going to be hard to watch. But if the UFC is just putting you in spots where you gotta fade one of these guys because they just need that market value on his name, which they should not. They shouldn't need that by now. There's a million people they could use to build Paddy. They probably want to keep him safe. They know he's going to win this fight. Guys, do not bet on Tony Ferguson here, okay? Don't even take a sprinkle bet on him. All the stupid shit he's saying in the press conferences, the stupid act he's putting up. The guy was an absolute beast back in his day. I mean, amazing. I think about the Anthony Pettis fight. I saw that fight live. That was the first card I ever watched, Khabib versus McGregor, and man, he put on a show against Pettis. That was an incredible fight, and he's a monster. He always will be a monster back then, but Father Time's undefeated. I don't see Tony Ferguson pulling off a win here. I don't even see him fluking his way to a win, to be honest. I think Paddy is too methodical. Paddy's too tricky, man. He finds his way to victory sometimes in places that he doesn't always have a right to be winning. He finds his way to victory against guys with more power. He finds his way to victory against guys that have good ground game. I mean, Paddy Pimblett all day, guys. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you disagree or whatever. I don't give a shit if you disagree with me or if you agree with me. Put a comment down there and tell me. Let me know. Just talk to me. All right, later.